Giants fans, what is going on? Welcome to another episode of Draft Talk. And this is the episode that a lot of you have been waiting for. Obviously, it's one of the most prevailing positions on the Giants that needs to be addressed. It's the wide receiver position. Truth, we are joined here today by none other than Nikki. Nikki, thank you so much. The last 48 hours, we have spent a significant amount of time together.
We have.
Always good to have you on. Always good to just be together as a group. We got a fun show to look forward to. Welcome on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This is, you guys save the best for last. Yeah, maybe.
Of course.
Totally.
Yeah, of course. Yes. You need the heavy hitters tonight for the wide receivers. Is my favorite position, as I do love a good diva. So thank you.
Absolutely. There we go. I'm hoping we got a couple divas in the draft this year, because usually divas turn out to be phenomenal players.
I agree. Like Odell Beckham Jr.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can make a one-handed.
There we go.
Oh, man. Truth, what are your thoughts? I mean, let's talk about needs of the New York Giants right now. Well, I mean, I did go into the offseason thinking that it was wide receiver. I'm starting to feel like, because we got rid of Gates, that maybe offensive line's a little bit more of a prevailing issue. But, what are your thoughts? I mean, is it wide receiver? Is it corner? Is it something else?
Well, the wide receiver is definitely one of them. We talk about all the guys that we signed, but they're all on one-year contracts. So, there's no one. The only guy I see getting brought back is Hopkins. He's gonna be re-signed, but this team is gonna need some talent if they want to have a good team for many years. So,
right.
I personally see a wide receiver definitely taken within the first 3 picks.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. I would be very hard pressed. It would be very surprising if by day 2, they don't pick a wide receiver. I mean, I can imagine it with almost every single position except for wide receiver, although interior offensive line, that would be a little bit questionable as well. Tell me something, Nikki. I just want to kind of get like your feel of this concept of wide receiver. Would you rather have, one true elite wide receiver one, followed by like a drop off, and then there's a couple guys who, will get open simply because there's a strong wide receiver one? Or would you rather be a little bit more like the Chiefs, where it's pretty balanced? Obviously, there's a degree of differentiation between the receivers, but you have a variety of a bunch of receivers that can get the job done. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, you obviously can do it that way. For me, for the Giants, I feel like we just have not had that number one in such a long time that it is time to address this issue. And I would really, really, really love to see Daniel Jones with his true number one guy. I mean, I just feel like evaluating him is constantly incomplete because we haven't had the greatest wide receiving corps, as of late. Yeah, Richie James stepped up a little bit. Hodgins had great, at the end of the year there, but between injuries, and one thing for me, guys, is really the separation. Nobody can ever get open. So I'm really hoping they address the wide receiver position in this draft. And I'm really, really, really hoping they find a guy that can separate. So that's a major point for me.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Real quick, just want to roll through some of the comments here. Darius, welcome on in. Dan, welcome on in, brother. It's just good to have the usuals in. Dan, obviously, part of Rush. So thank you for joining the squad tonight. Yeah, no, you bring up a good point. I mean, getting the separation has been key because it's been one of the issues with the Giants for a long time, right? I mean, the thing that did make Odell Beckham special was that he got separation prior to the catch, and then he got separation after the catch because he would get the yards after catch, right? So he had a mix of durability. But then you look at, like, this is the one thing that I love about wide receivers, that there's so much degree of variability into what makes certain guys special, right? Calvin Johnson, he's a tall dude. The jump ball is like what he was just killer good at. Then you get a guy like, like Odell Beckham, and it's the yards after catch that makes it truly special to watch. And that's the thing. Like, each receiver can be so good at one thing that makes him so much better at the NFL level. And that's what I love, because I look through all these guys that we're about to go over tonight. I sense that out of them. I sense that certain guys are going to be the speed guys. Certain guys are going to be the separation. Some of them are going to be deep threats consistently. So can't wait to go into it. Truth, Nikki, can't wait to hear kind of your thoughts on these players for the night.
Yeah.
But we might as well get started right away, and we'll get right into it. So, Nikki, we'll start with kind of like the top guy in the draft. Odds are the Giants don't end up with him unless they do some sort of trade up or there's something there that we're not seeing that causes him to drop. Or if he wants to hit a crack like a bong pipe with like the gas mask,
that should do it.
Yeah, that should do it. That'll cause it. But probably not even enough. You know what I'm saying? He'll probably go from like top 5 to like top 8.
So I was say like 7, slide to 7.
Yeah, he needs to do something more reckless in order to fall to the Giants. So, but might as well get right into it. Quentin Johnson out of TCU. I want to hear your thoughts on the guy.
Yeah, I don't think he will be there unless, obviously we make some moves. I don't anticipate that happening. But I mean, and this is so awesome that you're able to pull up the highlights. So
I learned how to use technology, and I wish we were doing this throughout the whole draft show.
It's okay. You got it now. So then we have it for rush hour. So, so that's all that matters. We learned.
Exactly.
You want to talk about separation, right? And Joe Shane said that Brian Daboll's words exactly are, we want guys that can separate. This kid gets a ton of separation. He has a ton of speed. But he really excels when he's avoiding press coverage, right? And making those contested catches. So I sure would love to get this kid. He says he loves the curl route because he can really sell it. Look at this guy. Just look at him. Oh man, it hurts to watch because I don't think we're gonna get him, but I really wish we could. And everyone's kind of comparing him to this Devontae Adams type style of wide receiver, which I definitely see that.
Yeah, and he's big boy, right? 6'4", 215.
Yeah,
average 17 yards a catch. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I guess when I watch this dude, I mean, what I was most impressed with is like I do feel like he is that true number one. Especially when it comes to that deep threat and his ability to kind of get deep and the amount of catches that he made that were above 30 yards, 40 yards. He's a phenomenal player. It's tough to really try to find any knocks on him. I think he's going to succeed at the next level. It's not even going to be a question.
I agree.
He'll succeed, probably at a rival with our luck, but he'll succeed. I mean, how could he not, right?
What do you think he'll go, Nikki? What are you looking at? What range?
I don't know. I don't think he's going to last. You guys really think he's going to last that long?
No, I don't think he will. I think he'll go somewhere 10 to 15.
Yeah, that's generous too. Yeah, maybe. Unless somebody jumps up and they're like, this is my guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that. A lot of people are like, oh, you're trading. Listen, my philosophy, if that's your guy, whether it's a draft, your fantasy draft, whatever, you go and get your guy. That's your guy. So, if you need to make a trade, you need to move up, then do it. If you believe in that guy, go get him.
Absolutely.
What are the odds the Giants would actually do something like that? I would put it at pretty low. If they were one player away, I would say they might do that. But because they're not there yet, I think they need all the draft capital possible. I'll never be upset if they did that. If they're like, you know what, this is the guy. I haven't seen a player like this in years and years and years of analysis. I'm okay with it. But if you guys think there's even a chance,
yeah, Nikki.
Not really. I really do. It's generally not their style, right, to do that. So I think the chance is low. You can't ever, never say never. I wouldn't be mad at it. I just don't think that that's something they're going to do. I mean, at 25, they can kind of sit back and wait and kind of see how the board falls. So I'd say chances are slim to none.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you look at the draft and you're looking at a wide receiver, you're looking at cornerbacks, going to get a ton of kids getting picked in the first round. Possibly 4 offensive tackles are going to get picked in the first round, 4 quarterbacks, possibly 5 quarterbacks now I'm reading. So
yeah,
it would have to really fall considerably in the Giants' favor if this guy ever makes it past 15. But again, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree. But on to the next guy, another dude that we're going to have to talk about that likely, unfortunately, will not fall to the Giants. But you never know. Sorry about that. But we're going to talk about, pull it up, Jackson Smith-Njigba. Tell me about this guy, Nikki. What are your thoughts?
So we're just going to call him like JSN, right? Because I can't do that last name, right? Let's call him JSN. I think that's
Okay, that's fair enough.
always making me pronounce, crazy names here. So he averaged 12 catches, 192 yards over the last 5 games. And oh yeah, how about the Rose Bowl, right? 15 catches for 347 yards. That was crazy. He had a nice showing at the combine. He ran a 4.48. My concern here, which he seems to be fine, and maybe I'm traumatized, is the hamstring.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, is it Kadarius Toney flashbacks? I don't know, but I just am really, really concerned. I mean, even look at, we were talking about OBJ in the beginning. I mean, he's had that hamstring issue for a while now too. So, and actually, not to derail, but it's coming from somebody who I did tear my left hamstring way back when I was in dance. I landed wrong in a jump split, and I remember hearing like my hamstring just completely rip. And I have to tell you, like, to this day, like, I had to do physical therapy. It's still never healed properly. So
wow.
Listen, and I'm no athlete. I know that they get, crazy special treatment, but that hamstring is a concern for me.
Yeah. It's funny that too. I did watch him through. I guess the one thing that's challenging about Ohio State is, and of course everybody says the quarterbacks are better because the elite receivers. The receivers are better because they got the quarterback. I actually think there's so many talented receivers at Ohio State. I don't really know if it quite gives them that attention with the cornerback number 1. I mean, he will shred zone defenses, obviously. I mean, you can see with the videos that we're playing, that's typically what they're going against. It's very tough to defend Ohio State. Michigan executed it, but it was a very bizarre offense they ran that day. This is what I see with JSM. I think he's best with like a West Coast offense. It's the short slant routes, and if he's going against the defense, it's playing zone. It's really going to enable him to succeed. But overall, like, he has some good framework. But like I said earlier, I would always hope to kind of see something that really blows me away about a guy. He's a good route runner, but other than that, there wasn't anything there that just like shocked me or wowed me and said, this guy's going to be elite at the next level.
Yep. Both of you guys nailed it. And, you got to have concerns about the injury, the hamstring history. And didn't he play a lot of slot as well in college?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many slot guys are we going to have on the Giants?
I know, right?
It's a six-way tie for, second best on that team. I swear to God.
Well, I see him. He's right now projected. I see people saying Seattle going number 20.
20.
Do you think he would fit there in Seattle?
Yeah. I could see something like that. And he did a good job during the combine and show that he was healthy. That could sway teams to probably pick him a little early in that. Again, we need to see what happens, but I don't see him being there for the Giants at all.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. All right, well, how about on to the next guy? We're dealing with a dude that had a pretty nice year at a school that hasn't really been that great in a while, but had a phenomenally successful year. And of course, he had the help of Henderson Hooker. Tell me about Jalen Hyatt.
Dynamic, right? Look at this kid. Such an exciting player, explosive athleticism, he's crazy good. And look at that speed. Like, he can really stretch the field, which is something, again, that we have not had in quite some time. So it seems like the knock on him, though, is, does he have that down to down dependency, right? Can he run those efficient routes to really help him establish himself as the number 1? I don't know. I think he might be a good 2 or 3, and the Giants just don't need that. We have that.
Wow. You really think he's just going to be a 2 or 3? You don't think he's going to succeed that much at the next level?
Well, I'm just saying, yet, right? I don't know that right now he's going to come in and be able to establish himself as the number 1.
Well, listen, 2 is not bad. If you're a good number 2 wide receiver in the NFL, you're a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
But I agree with Nikki about his route running. He seems to be very maybe a couple of routes that's all he ran at Tennessee. Of course, his vertical was his best. Those long post routes and very quick. But I agree with Nikki. I think right now he'll definitely be there. I believe at 25, and I could definitely see him being like a number 2 guy.
Okay. Gotcha. And again, look, and we go back to the comment that I made earlier. I mean, you look at a team like the Chiefs, it's a little bit more diversified as to which wide receiver gets the most attention, right? So, you could theoretically have a guy like Jalen Hyatt, and then you add him, and if one of the Giants receivers like Hodgins steps up a little bit and takes it to the next level where he could have been a wide receiver too, you have a little bit of a balance as to who you throw to, right? So, might be best in an offensive like that. Again, if this guy can slip, I mean, he's in great position if he's going to a team that's already got an established offense,
Can I just say something?
Sure.
I just think Joe Shane and how he thinks, and of course I don't know him. I think he's not going to necessarily worry about getting someone who thinks to be number 1 wide receiver. I think you mentioned earlier, Spartan, about sharing the wealth with his wide receivers. I think he's going to look for a guy who fits his culture, fits the team in a long term. So it could be somebody taken in round 3 or 4 that we had no clue, but they see something that we don't see, and the kid could be a good contributor. And I personally think that Darren Waller is going to be the number 1 receiver on the Giants this year.
Wow.
Probably.
Wow.
He's the tight end, but I think they're going to look at him like a wide receiver. They're going to throw to him a lot if he stays healthy.
Interesting. I go back and forth. I always feel like between with Gettleman, like he would always take some picks sometimes. He's like because he always felt like he saw something that we didn't, and then of course like none of those guys ever really panned out to amount to anything. I'll give him the exception of Dexter Lawrence. He was kind of one of those players like, why we take him? And then, he gave an explanation of some certain attribute that he saw in the long run. It's like, look, I'm completely cool with that. But ultimately, I really want the Giants to just get the solidified guy that just balls out. Culture is important, but ultimately, I just don't want a guy that's, a true head case. Obviously that, that's going to be too much, but, I really hope they're digging for that guy that's just like exploding on all cylinders right away. I'm a little less compelled to go for the guy that is a culture fit and seems to have the attributes that they might fill into some shoes one day. Obviously, we're getting the later rounds. That's who we're dealing with anyway. But, it's just kind of some thoughts because Gettleman left a bad taste in my mouth with how he did that.
Yeah, keep in mind, too, that whoever they draft, if they do get a receiver in the first 2 days, there's no saying they're going to be number 1 in their rookie year or even their second year. It all depends how they develop. We don't know. Everybody's different how they develop, in the NFL.
Totally. All right, Nikki, let's get on to the next guy. And actually, I'm very impressed by this guy, so I'm curious to just kind of hear your thoughts on him. Jordan Addison, how did you feel about him?
I actually really like this kid, right? I don't know how you guys feel, but I really do like this kid. He has a ton of potential. We just got done talking about potential. So first season at Pitt, he totaled 666 yards on 60 catches. Following year, he and Kenny Pickett, they really put together a nice productive season, finished second in the ACC with 100 receptions. He led the conference in yards. I think he had 17 touchdowns too. So he's an effective wide receiver due to his route running and his catch radius, right? And I think that's super important to note. And I think his size, experience probably lend himself to operating in the slot, which we just talked about. But I do like this kid, and I definitely wouldn't mind if the Giants grabbed him. Now, will he be there? I don't know. If Minnesota pulls the trigger a couple spots ahead of us, I'm like this on if he's going to be there. There's a chance, but like I said, when we're talking about wide receivers, we have Minnesota and the Ravens like a couple spots ahead of us.
I will say he will be a great fit on the Vikings.
Oh yeah. So I think that's who's going to grab him, but I really do like this kid.
Yeah.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
I'll just say it. I mean, he's the most Odell-like of anybody that I was kind of looking through. He was a, fantastic player, both at Pitt. I don't know why he transferred. That's a bit of a mystery to me. I know he lost the quarterback who ended up getting drafted the next year. And maybe that had something to do with it. He wanted to switch to get good quarterback play for the next year.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, his ability to get yards after the catch, his ability to get separation, and his speed, I mean, was truly impressive with this dude. And I found that he was able to get separation pretty well. Now, you said he's might end up being a slot player guy. I certainly hope not. I mean, I thought he would have a little bit more wide range of capabilities there, but ultimately, yeah, I mean, I think he's got a lot of talent. I think the next guy we're gonna go over has more talent. But truth, like what else do you have on him?
Well, you mentioned Odell Beckham. That's who I see too. Even his body, he's kind of built like Odell Beckham, and he did play outside as well as slotted, so he could be moved around. I would say this: if him or Johnston are there at 25, that's who you Giants should take.
Yeah.
I don't see either of them going to be there. Like Nikki just said, you got Baltimore, you got Minnesota. Can you imagine him on Minnesota with Jefferson on the other side? How scary that's going to be.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine?
So I'd be so shocked he gets past those two teams. I'd be totally shocked. But he is a good player. He's a good player.
Yes.
I totally
look at Cold's comment. He's so funny. We got more slots than a Vegas casino. There's a whole room slot receivers.
What did he say? Oh, you got more slots.
We got more slots than a Vegas casino. It's freaking hilarious, man. I'm going to go through some of these comments. Be patient, add good players, and let that number one come when it comes. I agree. Look, if they're not there, there's no reason to force wide receiver if they're not feeling it. We want a ball and freaking wide receiver. If Shane and Co. is not feeling it, don't worry. There's plenty of cornerbacks. Truth and I have been discussing for a while. That's where the bread and butter is in the secondary. Spartan, great news. Truth got his furniture back. Yeah, so I went through a show last week. We were on the show, and Truth's background was a completely empty apartment building. And for a second, we didn't get any context. So it was like, Truth, did all your stuff get stolen? And so that was kind of the running joke of the show that night, because all we do is screw around.
Yep. That was funny, too, though. That was funny.
Oh, man. All right, so on to the next guy. And then, Mr. Chicken on YouTube is very high on him. I don't know if he joined the show tonight, but it was somebody that he brought up. I think at 25, he would actually be a fantastic pick. I was very impressed with him. Zay Flowers, Nikki, what are your thoughts on him?
Oh, man, I do love this kid. I don't think he'll be there. Right now, it looks like maybe they're saying New England might go ahead and grab him at 14. So I don't know if he'll be there, but at BC, like they also used him in the backfield to create mismatches. So, he is just like a complete threat. And you want to talk about separation. This is one of the best to get separation. He's an excellent deep threat, right? Great speed, flexible, quick feet. He's a smart route runner and he adjusts to defenses really well. And even more important, he's a willing blocker. So listen, if we could get Zay Flowers, I'm high on him too. I mean, please go and do it. Yes. I just think he's probably somewhere 14, maybe 15, 16. So I don't know if he'll be there, but we'll see. Fingers crossed.
And I think what I love about this guy especially is, I mean, how well he fights for the ball. And if you watch any of these highlight tapes in slow motion, you're going to see that the focus on the ball is superior to a lot of the wide receivers that you're going to end up seeing, right? Because, we want to get separation, but, there's a lot of value there if, you're in tight coverage, because that's going to happen at the NFL. You're going to go against top corners and you're pressed. This is where a guy like Larry Fitzgerald would succeed. And, we're already talking about yards after catch. We're already talking about the deep threat. Zay Flowers is phenomenal at taking the ball and, in tight coverage and often double coverage. And he went against some talented safeties and corners. In my opinion, at 25, it's possible. And at 25, if he's there, I want him. Despite all the secondary guys we talked about. I really like this guy's body of work. He's a smart dude. I didn't even realize that about the blocking. I didn't realize he was a good blocker. And that, to me, means a lot because Sterling Shepard added a lot of value to the Giants because he was a good blocker. Truth, what are your thoughts?
Well, you guys aren't going to like me right now.
Oh.
I think he's a talented player. I saw a lot of reports on him with NFL Network, and a lot of guys were comparing him to Wan'Dale Robinson. That kind of freaked me out because we already got a Wan'Dale Robinson on the
He's
team.
5'10". That's the biggest downside. Like if he's 6', 6'1", I mean, it'll be a little bit more clear cut. But
yeah, perhaps. I mean, I said it before. I will only draft a wide receiver in the first round if Johnston or Addison are there. That's the only two guys I will get if they fall to 25.
Wow.
This kid's a great player. This kid's a good player, and there's a lot of good players that the Giants will not be able to draft. So he'll be one of them, and you can't draft everybody.
Truth just told us to sit down, Nikki. What the?
I know. He said, "Have a seat." What do you guys know?
No, he's no.
We've done the show for 2 years. That was the harshest like comeback.
No,
guys. Actually,
you guys are right. He's very talented. You're right. He's very talented. I just think the Giants.
Yeah.
There's just other things they need to get. There's just I guess I don't have that feeling you guys have for him. I don't.
I do get what you're saying, especially when they're making a comparison like Wan'Dale. But I think the one thing this guy does different than Wan'Dale is that he's able to catch those balls in traffic. Wan'Dale can't do that.
Well, okay.
We have to see Wan'Dale. We have to see him on the field.
We haven't seen enough of him yet. You're right.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
But this kid could be a good NFL football player, and of course, I'll eat my words when that happens. But I just think the Giants could go. I'd rather see those other two wide receivers over him.
I'll make you a $1 bet. He's going to have 1,000 yards his rookie year.
Oh my goodness!
Oh,
okay.
$1?
Yeah.
All right.
I'll tell you what.
Carolina, so I mean, we're
wait a minute. How about this? How about this, Spartan? I'll give you a free golf lesson on Zoom. We'll do it. I'll give you a free golf lesson.
Oh,
that works. That works. I will take that. 1,000 yards his rookie year. You heard it here first.
I need these golf lessons. I have a couple
you too?
in June. Well, in June, there's always like everybody does like the golf outings, for
you play golf, Nikki?
No, I'm horrible.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty bad. It's maybe we'll have a rush get together and watch Nikki suck at golf.
There we go. We'll do that on the draft. We did that last year on the draft show. Truth gave me a little bit of a lesson on golf because we were going on for 4 hours. Great time between guests coming on.
Yeah, then Craig came on. Craig came on
when he wasn't even slated to, and he's like, "All right, guys, I'm joining." Because we were running out of things to talk about.
It's a long time. That's a long time.
Yeah. Heck, Mark Thompson in the comments section left and actually came back. He said, "You guys look bored." And he was right.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
4 hours that's like a marathon podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was me, you, and Chris, right? Chris, that was Chris's debut, wasn't it?
It was.
That was his debut?
Yeah, that was his first time.
It was one of his earliest ones.
Oh.
Wow.
So, Nikki, we're on to your last guy right now.
Okay.
Josh Downs out of North Carolina. How'd you feel about him?
Yeah, small but speedy, right? He's 5'9", about 170. Here we go. Plays out of the slot. Again. Slot. I mean, I don't know. Let's talk about some good things though. He does change direction really well in the open field. He put together back-to-back 1,000+ receiving yard seasons. He only had a 2% drop rate in college, which I think is pretty good to note, especially for Giants wide receivers who just seem to drop the ball in the most crucial moments all the time. And he's great at immediate short route running. And, he'll take those low risk routes and turn them into high reward. But do we, here we go, slot. I mean, this small, speedy guy, do we need this though?
No, I think, who's the guy on ESPN? Not Mel Kiper, the other guy, McFay. What's his name?
Oh, McShay, right?
McShay. I think he has him mocked round 2 for the Giants.
Interesting. And look, again, the value, I mean, you look at his body of work, he is extremely talented, but it's exactly what you're kind of talking about, Nikki. You worry about that 5'9" frame. I do think what's interesting about this guy is you look at his highlights, some of the catches that he makes a lot is a red zone player. He does a very good job of turning around and fighting for the ball, which is generally a bigger frame body work of art. But I know we're a little crapped out on short receivers, aren't we?
God, I mean, I just don't know how many more we really need.
Well, I got a couple here, so you can get ready for mine.
Go ahead.
There's a couple that we have still. We're going to talk about those little kind of Smurf kind of wide receivers.
Smurf receivers.
That's all we seem to get this year, man.
Yeah, it's true.
No, it's funny. We talked about the linebackers, how they were all built the same way. Remember Spartan 6'1", 225, those inside linebackers?
Yeah.
We get a lot of wide receivers like that, 5'9", 5'10", 170, 180 something pounds.
Yeah.
Let me ask something. Are they getting shorter? I mean, do you feel like you're seeing more short receivers in general in the NFL?
Well, I haven't really taken notice, but I've taken notice this year in the draft, though. Based on everybody what they're talking about, I'm seeing a lot of subpar 6-footers coming out of the draft. So
it's seeming like speed is so important that at every position nowadays that it's even affecting wide receiver, and the fact that the 6, maybe not 5'9" guys, but the 6-foot guy who's a little bit faster than the 6'3" guy does seem to get a little bit more of a nod, or seems to add more value to teams nowadays.
Well, Nikki hit it early about separation and yards after the catch. Those two things, I guess, are they're very important as a wide receiver.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, Truth, we're on to your guys now, man. So why don't we start right up with a guy from Houston, Daniel Dell. What are your thoughts on him?
Let's go right to the shortest guy. Here we go.
How short is he?
How short?
5'8", according to the stats. 5'8", 165.
Really?
Jeez.
Yeah.
Truth, how tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
5'11". All right.
I'm 5'3".
Wait, hold on 1 minute, guys. Hold on. I think someone's knocking on my door. Talk to Nikki. Hold on.
Why didn't you just come to the door when we were going over your guys?
I don't know. Spartan, how tall are you?
I am 6'3".
Oh, you're 6'3". Oh, yeah, you are tall. That's right. I remember when we hung out in person.
Yeah.
You're a whole foot taller than me. Yeah, when people meet me in person, they're like, "Oh, you're actually short." Like,
I thought you were taller. I did.
All right, I'm back.
Short.
I'm back.
Okay.
We missed you.
Was that dinner? DoorDash come or something?
No. It was my buddy.
Oh, all right.
Man.
Yeah. So Nathaniel Dell, aka Tank Dell, right out of Houston. Offense. Don't look at the numbers because they just throw the ball all over the field, right? Houston. This kid led the league, college football last 2 years combined, most yardage and most touchdowns. So, I don't look at that so much because that's how their offense was. They're a running gun. But he's got very, very quick, as you could see. He's a dual threat. He can kick off, punt return. Kind of reminds me of Tyreek Hill as a wide receiver, those quick moves and cuts and all that stuff. So again, he's small. He'll make it in the NFL, but I don't see the Giants. I don't want the Giants to draft him.
How come? Just too short?
Because of his, I mean, we need some. We need. I think we need an average size wide receiver who is talented, who could catch the ball and stretch the field. Yeah. I don't think we need a 5'8" guy.
No, I get that. I believe me. I completely understand. I get it.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I'm wrong in this, but
I do think the one thing that I do love about receivers in college, like, look, the reason there's so many receivers in college that may not have been top guys in college, but then they translate to a great one in the pros. I'll bring it up when I bring up my under the radar guys, like, when they're not dealing with the best situations with the quarterback. I truly believe the quarterbacks make the receivers more than a receiver makes the quarterback. Receivers enable the quarterback a little bit more. But, when you're dealing with a guy from Houston, I mean, they're not getting the quarterback play that somebody from, somebody like Jordan Addison was, or JSN or Quentin Johnson, right? And that's something to kind of consider, in my opinion. If they're doing pretty damn good, but they're with a crappy quarterback, they might step it up in the league.
Well, keep in mind, Clayton Tune was the quarterback for Houston, and he threw a heck of a lot more attempts than Then Max Duger did at TCU. Then Caleb Williams did at USC. They just threw the ball a ton.
Oh,
I
so
mean,
they did have quarterback. Okay, sorry.
yeah, he threw almost 4,500 yards this year. That kid.
All right. I forgot. We actually went over him on the draft show too. He just wasn't one of the guys that I covered that night.
Right. They threw a lot. They threw a lot.
Yeah. All right. Well, how about your next guy on the list? We got Cedric Tillman out of Tennessee. So another Tennessee guy. I'm a little amazed by that.
Yes. Now here's a guy. All right. Here's a guy who had, I believe, had an ankle injury that kind of hindered him most of the year in 2022. And here's a kid who had good size, 6'3", 216. And I think this kid, if he's healthy, he's going to make a very, very good NFL wide receiver. I think he's going to be a very good wide receiver. You know, what round? I see him going in late round 2, early round 3. I can see him going. I think he'll be there for the Giants if they want to go wide receiver in round 2. I just see him being a better wide receiver in the NFL level.
Yeah. Okay.
You know.
Well,
what do you think, Nikki? Let me have it.
Yeah, no, I'll have to take your word on this one. I don't know much about this kid right here, so I will have to take your word for it.
Especially because he wasn't even taking up most of the attention at Tennessee, right? It was
right.
He was hurt. He was hurt most of the time with an ankle injury. He didn't play a lot. I think he had. I'm going off memory now. I think he had like 18 receptions all year. You know, so it was basically Hyatt's. He was the main guy for the wide receivers for Tennessee.
Gotcha.
But this kid, I think he's going to be a good one.
What about Marvin Mims out of Oklahoma?
Boy, he reminds you so much of Josh Downs, this kid. But he's good. I'm hearing a lot of talk about him going to the Giants now, and I think they got him projected again late round 2, early round 3. Very explosive. I think he's about 5'11". I think he's built almost like Sterling Shepard. That kind of build. He's got some meat on, muscular frame. He can definitely run good routes, very crisp route running, good hands. Look at that catch right there.
Yeah.
I mean, would it shock me the Giants got him? No. Would I be extremely happy? Probably not. But I'm not. Listen, look, Joe Shane knows football, and so does Dable. Yeah. If they see something in this kid, I never thought Sterling Shepard was going to be drafted by the Giants, and they took him in round 2, and he had to, aside from the injuries, he always was very productive, you know. So this kid, you know, he kind of looks like Sterling Shepard, you know, same college, same kind of built. So he could probably have the same kind of career as Shepard did, hopefully minus the injuries.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Hey, real quick, and of course, you know, there's so many receivers when you get to the later rounds. I mean, look, we always talk about dudes that, you know, might ball out the next level unexpectedly. Mm-hmm. Chris, by the way, I met him at the Meadowlands last year. Did you guys talk about Tyler Scott? We don't have him on the list. Truth, do you have anything on him?
No, he's I would say a 4th, 5th rounder. He's coming on strong now. I'm hearing a lot that a lot of teams, I think he had a really good pro day, and a lot of teams now are talking about him, especially on NFL Network. I think he's small, like 5'10". I think he's another guy who's not very big, 5'10", 177. You know, I'd probably put him in the same category as a Josh Downs, that type of player.
Okay.
You know,
fair enough.
He'll get drafted, certainly get drafted, but probably not by the Giants.
I think it's important to kind of note too. Joe Shane really did, he came out and said, like, our priority here is a guy's ability to get open regardless of size. So, you know, even if we're like, oh, you know, he's small, how many small little speedy, shifty slot receivers can we have? You know, he said that their priority this year is guys that can get open. That's it, regardless of their size.
And again, he knows football. So whoever he picks, you have to trust him because he does know.
And again, just get a guy who's balling out. Get the guy who's going to add the productivity. They know how to evaluate this and everything like that. You know, as much as I sit here and say we need a big man, as much as I'm like, all right, we need, you know, a guy can get, whatever it is, just get the guy who's going to ball out for us. That's all I care about. I'm talking about this like I'm talking to you guys. Like, you guys draft the guy that's going to ball out. Come
I
on.
know. True. Like when we're in the war room, like let's draft this guy that's gonna ball out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, on to the next guy. So AT pair. If we're talking about size, here comes a guy. Someone mentioned it that he's a pretty big dude. Chris, what do you got on AT Perry?
Well, did you just call me Chris?
No, I called you Truth.
Oh, you did? My God.
Yeah, I promise. Don't worry.
I'm hearing things. Yeah, he's kind of built like Isaiah Hopkins on 6'4", 216. Good hands. You can see the year he had. Very deceptive speed. I know he ran a 4.47 at the combine, but when he plays, he looks faster than that sometimes, especially when he does when he runs vertical and does long post routes. He does create separation the way Nikki talked about, how that's very important, and it is. His one here, that's vertical. Look at him. He just pulls away.
Yeah.
So here's a guy who's probably a third-round pick, and he could be a good pro here. And would I be upset the Giants picked him? No, not at all. Not at all. He's got good hands. He runs good routes. He's a good player. Just he didn't go to a well-known school that you always hear about, like Ohio State and schools like that. So
right. Looks like they're saying Chiefs are interested.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So you're talking putting him in the Chiefs, let him learn in that system. Boy, he could be something.
Yeah.
What a blessing to get Patrick Mahomes in. And in offense, well, they'll definitely let a rookie go out there for catches. I mean, look.
Can you imagine that?
Oh, God, I'd be ecstatic. First of all, you sign your rookie contract to get a mansion out there because it's Kansas City, right? It's not like you get drafted by the 49ers. All of a sudden, it's like, well, even on that rookie salary, it's still nearly impossible to live out there.
It's cheap out there. Not like Jersey. Whew.
No.
Chicago, right? Chicago stuff too.
Yeah, compared to the rest of the Midwest, no doubt about it. But, yeah, all right. So, Truth, what about Rashee Rice out of JMU?
Well, yeah, I like this kid. He had a really good senior week, and his stock has fallen a little bit. He was at one time looked upon as an early second-round pick. Now they got him going somewhere in the late second into third round now. But he's a good route runner. He has good size, like 6', 205, kind of built like Jordan Anderson. And again, he has good route runs. He runs all the routes. And you'll see probably in this highlight all different routes. You won't see the same routes all the time. He's got good hands. What I like about him, just right there, you just saw he catches the ball away from his body, which is something I like to see a wide receiver do. Not always try to basket catch everything. And he catches the ball in traffic. So he's a good player. Again, from a school that you're not known to seeing wide receivers, SMU. Here's one here. Look at this catch.
Yeah, wow.
Man.
They say he's got great hands, this kid.
Yep. And again, would I be upset if he kind of falls into round 3 at 89 and the Giants get him? No, I would not be upset.
Truth. Why is his stock falling a little bit?
That's a good question. I don't know why. Because he had a great senior week. I'm trying to remember what he did at the combine, and I'm drawing a blank if he did well. And perhaps he didn't do well. He did okay. Perhaps other kids have done well in their pro day, and they kind of like jumped ahead of him, leapfrogged him. But I would not be upset if they took him if he falls to round 3 for the Giants.
Okay. Well, maybe it's just that, compared to the others, he just doesn't have, maybe they're not seeing like elite talent at
You know what I see in him? When I watch this kid, I think of Hakeem Nicks. I think of good, strong hands, good routes. He has a good build. He's not, not lean, but he's a little muscular. And I think of Hakeem Nicks for some reason when I watch this kid.
Interesting. Hakeem Nicks, huh?
Spartan's like upset about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know if I really saw it with him, but
Hey, if you don't think so, tell me. What
dramatic pause and all.
No, I was just like, I don't know.
Really?
And Nikki, and he had a little sigh at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Truth. No, I'm just looking at some of the comments right now, to be honest with you.
What are they saying?
Let's see. Hold up.
What's everybody saying?
Here's one. I can only imagine real NFL scouts laughing their ass off at us. Yeah, there's probably some truth to that.
Probably.
Look, we're
Yeah.
just shooting around with the wires. Like nobody here is trying to be like a draft expert.
And none of us think we're scouts, Mr.
No.
C.
No.
We're taking our time, and like, look, if we're going on any guys that anybody in here didn't look at, we're just making recommendations of who to kind of look at that might fall to the Giants. So we'll never step outside, kind of that, or pretend that we're scouts. It's kind of how you get in trouble on social media.
And we never do. We never say we.
Yeah.
I mean, in fact, how many times we say that Joe Shea knows more than we know, right?
Of course.
He does. He does. We're just giving our opinion, just like you just did, Mr. C.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I will
listen, we're
totally
not
admit that I've been
the,
at fault for things. Go ahead, Nikki. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say we're not the content creators putting out 27 mock drafts just to try to get something right,
Yeah,
Yeah.
or buying followers. I don't know if anyone noticed that you could do that. Apparently, I think Alex Wilson was like buying these Portuguese followers. You pay like a certain amount of money and you get 10,000 followers on Twitter or something.
Oh,
like
really?
that. Yeah. Why, are you interested?
No.
All of a sudden you go up to like,
I'll be totally honest with you guys. I could care less. I mean, I appreciate people following me. I don't even look at that. I really don't.
Yeah.
I just enjoy talking about football.
Exactly. We have fun doing this, and every now and then we interview Kurt Warner and the likes of that too. Somehow we're able to pull that one, and that's what makes us fun. It's also fun being with all the guys in the comments section.
Yeah.
No matter how targeted some of your jokes might be at times. Spartan Mush all of a sudden. Where the hell did that come from, Nikki?
that came from Craig. He had a Freudian slip and called you Spartan Mush 2 weeks ago, and I took it and ran with it. So
Let me tell you something. I was watching that show, and the minute Craig slipped up, Nikki, you were pounced on that like a pit bull on a poodle. You jumped on that so quick.
that's what I do.
That was funny. That was funny.
Just jump on it.
All right, last player here. One sec.
And I'm going to compare this kid to A.T. Perry.
Xavier Hutchinson out of Iowa State. We got to wrap through here because there's a couple more guys we got to talk about, obviously. What are your thoughts, Drew?
Well, again, I'm going to compare him to A.T. Perry. Comes from a school not known for wide receivers. He's probably the only guy on that team, really, the team's focused on to defend. Similar size, around 6'4", 203. Good hands, good speed, not blazing, not elite speed, but good hands, good route runner. And again, another guy likes to catch a ball away from his body. He's a good player. I see him as a fourth rounder. I don't think he's going to make it in the day 2. I see him slipping early round day 3, getting selected probably in the fourth round, maybe early 4th, but definitely 4th round. I like him. I think he's a good player. But
I think we went in the dark real quick, Drew. I think we went in the dark there for about 5 minutes. Look at the comments section right now.
Yeah, I think it might be. I don't know. Could be the highlights. We'll see.
Could be the highlights. Damn, the one time we wanted to do that because at first we were just talking about these guys, and I guess I think we could always go back to that. But damn it, I was wondering if there'd be an issue with that, but it's not like we're drawing revenue fees off this. So.
Oh, we went in the dark. Is that what they're saying?
Went in the dark, yeah. Oh, okay. Craig's a clown. We can do everything illegal on here, and it'll all be on him. No worries.
That's what he gets for calling you mush, right?
That's exactly it. So let's just go to the round where we're just going to talk about guys that we think are under the radar completely. I'm going to go with my guy from Michigan State here, Truth. Tell me your thoughts. But the reason that I like Keon is, he's especially a guy that had a great junior year, and then his last year wasn't as good simply from the fact that he wasn't getting the ball that much because the offense was atrocious at Michigan State. We're talking about a guy that was held back by the coordinator. He was held back by the quarterback. And I do think that, here's a guy who's extremely talented that if he goes to the 4th round, he's a value add. And his name comes up a lot. And obviously he played at the Senior Bowl too. So I know you got a chance to look at him.
Yeah. I did look at him. He looks a good player. He teamed up with Jalen Reed, right? They were together.
Yeah, he played with Reed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And do you think Reed's a better NFL prospect than he is?
Yeah, I'd probably say so.
Okay. And you see him as a 4th round pick, this kid?
That's what I'm expecting. Yep.
Okay. Yeah, what I've seen of him, he looks pretty good. He's got runs very smooth. I don't see like he's struggling when he runs. Very fluent. catches the ball. He did good. I didn't have him on my radar in my top 15, like we didn't have him on there. But I think this wide receiver class is a lot better than I originally thought. I thought it wasn't as deep, but I think as we research and as the pro days and the also combine went through, I think these guys are good. I think we have a good deep wide receiver class this year, better than I expected.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you about this, Mr. C. Mr. C, is that Mr. Chicken? Is that you in the audience? I know you're not up in here all too often, but
Somebody's named Mr. Chicken
on Twitter, it's like Mr. Chicken something or other.
Oh.
Who's AL? Who I think A1 gets drafted UDF. Who's that? A1.
Yeah, not sure about that one either. If you can clarify that. Darius, is this who it is?
We haven't gotten him yet, Miss Darius.
I didn't have him on the list to go over tonight. Is this something that you wanted to go over?
Yeah, I was going to mention him, honorable mention, and then
let's do it. You
pronounce his name is Yusevach. That's how you pronounce that kid's last name. Yusevach. I watch YouTube and I memorized that name. Yusevach. He's a good player. I agree with Darius. I think more fourth round. That would be the earliest. I don't think he's going to be a day 2 pick. Again, we don't know NFL teams what they see in these kids, But I think he's a good play, Yusevach, and I think he'll be taken in round 4.
Okay.
Let me give you a couple other guys who I wanted to talk about more, but we had a list, we had to stick to it. Jonathan Mingo out of Ole Miss, solid player, good size. I think he's 6'2", 6'3", 225, thick frame, runs like a 4.5 40. Yeah, under the radar.
Who else?
Oh, and I got the kid out of Stanford, Michael Wilson. I like that kid. I see a lot of mocks putting him in round 2. I don't see round 2, but you never know again. I was thinking more round 3 he'll be taken. Another kid, like 6'2" body, 200 pounds plus, good frame. But I'm going to talk about this another kid here. I actually had in my mock draft.
Oh.
Okay, out of West Virginia. Name is Bryce Ford Wheaton. Okay. Big kid, 6'4", 220, and he ran a 4.38 40 at the combine. Okay, vertical threat, can run multiple routes. He's just not a one-dimensional wide receiver. Good hands. Again, another kid I like, catches the ball away from his body. For some reason, I looked through many other scouting reports, and they're showing him earliest 4th round. I'm just shocked why 4th round, but I'm going to go by what they're saying to me. I'm going by what they're saying because they know more than I do. I think this kid is going to be a good NFL player. I think he's got the size, speed, almost like a freak, like that freak list we talked about. I think he's going to be there's a freak list going around for the NFL, Nikki.
Yeah, you're talking about this.
And a lot of guys make the freak list because of their speed and how strong they are at the combine, what their measurables are. So I think this kid, I like this kid, and I certainly would not be upset that Giants took him, late on day 2 or early day 3. If he's on that board and they haven't gone that wide receiver yet, I would not be unhappy if they took him.
Wow. I didn't know about the freak list. Now I'm going to look for it.
Yeah, you got to look for it. It's pretty good. I think
you love this thing.
Yeah, Barry. I think his name is Barry Feldman. He does a freak list for the NFL, and he has the top 100. And it's interesting to see who's on that list. Guys that get drafted.
Does the audience know about the freak list? Am I last to know about this? Just curious if anyone else knows about the freak list.
I don't know. We've talked about it throughout our draft show.
Okay.
For other positions about the freak list. So
okay.
If you go on NFL draftbuzz.com, and you see the scouting reports,
Okay.
you'll see the guys, the prospects who are on the freak list. They're mentioned on there.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah, it is. So I think this is going to be a fun wide receiver draft. I really do. I think you're going to see.
Look, at the very least, the Giants are going to walk away with one of the guys we just talked about. I mean, I can almost guarantee it, right? So, and that's what makes this exciting. I mean, that makes this show particularly exciting is that we know that one of these guys will end up on the Giants. Who will be? I mean, we don't know, but the odds that they don't get one in the first 2 days, highly unlikely.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think they're going to go and get more than one wide receiver?
In the draft, yes. Not in the top first 2 days, obviously.
Well, they got 7 picks in the day 3, so yeah. So you can see maybe one in the first 2 days and one in the last day.
Yeah, probably.
So then,
so let me ask you guys a question: If everything fell the way you liked it, what's this guy say?
Man, our fans are the damn peanut gallery. Sometime that is a great
We're
comment.
the best. We had a freak list back in college. Wow.
Jeez.
I bet you guys did. I bet you guys did.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys a question. If the draft went your way, give me the wide receiver or 2 that you love to see the Giants draft.
Zay Flowers.
Addison. Yeah.
All right. So that's.
I'm sorry. Quentin Johnson, I think, is like the guy, but like
so those 3 in the first round.
Quentin Johnson. I'll go with Quentin Johnson.
Okay. But, and what about if it was day 2 or day 3? If they don't go wide receiver day 1?
I'm a little torn here, right? Because it's like, look, theoretically, some of the guys that we talked about could even slide to the second round. So
they might. Yeah.
I don't know. Probably Downs. I'm hoping that he might slip to the second round. But again, we're dealing with 5'9", so
I think he will.
He'll slip. I feel like his size might turn some teams off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he'll definitely be there at pick 57.
Well, let me ask you both this, and Nikki, we'll go with you first. What percent odds do you feel the Giants are to take a wide receiver in the first round with that first pick? What do you think it is? 50%?
I think 50. I know it's a cop-out answer, but I think it's fair because, like I said, don't forget we have the Vikings ahead of us. A couple. We got the Ravens ahead of us. I feel like if their guy is there, then take them. But then, do they end up, grabbing, Brian Branch? Do they end up grabbing cornerback, Banks? Like maybe I could see that happening too. So I think if their guy is there, they take him, don't just grab the wide receiver just to grab him. Like we want him to obviously fit. So, but listen, if they ended up going corner, I'm not mad at that either.
Yeah, no, I agree. Guys, draft is coming near.
It is.
We got 3. This is actually 3 weeks from today, isn't it?
Correct.
Yep. Oh gosh, then we're on the marathon podcast, right?
Yes, which you'll be there for, right? We already penciled you in.
Oh, yeah, Nikki, you'll be on day 2.
I don't remember who's got what.
I don't know who's got what. I'm not sure yet.
Listen, day 1's going to be long too because the Giants are picking 25, so that's going to take a couple hours.
You're on day 1, right, Truth?
Yeah. Oh, that's going to take a couple hours. I don't know who else is there. Do you know?
No. Just you and Craig?
No, it's got to be me, Craig, and somebody else.
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. I have no idea, actually. I'll just, you know what? I'll tell you the person I am. Just tell me what day and what time, and I'll show up.
One's a Thursday, one's a Friday, so
I guess we'll see.
I won't have cocktails that night. I'm not. I am not doing this with a Diet Coke like I do this.
Like you did last time. No, you're going to have a few beers, some drinks for that day too. That's a
40-ouncer and a 4 Loco.
And you guys go the whole time. You don't just pop on like right before the Giants pick. It's the whole.
I think they went up to the 3. Yeah, you did all of them. I remember we picked.
You did the whole damn night.
I remember that's right. After the Giants' last pick, that was it.
That was it. But let me just say something because everybody listening in, look, we're inviting all the fans, our top followers, because we want you through on those first couple nights. A lot of you guys will be back from last year. You know who you are, and we look forward to having you guys on the show. So we are so pumped.
Yes, please. I'm
Yeah,
gonna need help. What the hell am I gonna talk about for 3-4 hours?
Yeah, Nikki
you
needs
will.
more
You'll
of a
have guests
schedule.
on. Listen, I thought it went pretty good. I
All
mean, I
right, good.
enjoyed it.
We
I
get golf
enjoyed it.
lessons from Truth. We'll have that to say. We'll have segments,
Yes.
guys.
Okay, good. Give me golf lessons before my charity events in June. And guys, don't forget we have the 2 tickets to the Giants draft party. So our 1,000th subscriber is going to win 2 tickets. So make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you know when we're live for the endless draft show, which is probably, what, multi-day or something.
Satellite, exactly.
I listen. I love it. I love the draft when we have the guys, all the other people on from Twitter come on and they give their
Yeah.
point of view, and
Oh
we
yeah.
get to see a face when we always just type in and talk to these people. So I enjoy it. It's really fun.
It is
It really
fun.
is.
I know some of you had jumped on rush hour with me and Spartan, and that's always fun to see our followers come on and talk to us and put a face to the name. So
Right.
it will be a good time, but make sure you guys subscribe so that you can win those Giants draft party tickets, and make sure you hit the like button, please. Thank you.
Yeah, Giants fan, thanks again for such a fun week. Truth, you got any final thoughts before we go here?
Well, just that I think next week we're going to have, I think we're going to try to get Tommy G on and talk about the running backs. So that should be fun. I always like to hear what Tommy G has to say.
Agreed.
All right.
Yeah, guys, thanks. I mean, Nikki, thank you so much for joining us 2 days in a row.
Yes, Nikki, thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Of course. It's good to do this with you guys.
Tudo was the 4th subscriber. Well, then you don't win.
Okay.
Thank you, Tudo. Giants fans,
We
have a great
appreciate
night.
you.
Thank you so much for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you guys all next week.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
See you, man.
Bye.